So this is where the garden started. In fact, it started just here with a delivery of some soil about 19 years ago. And this became the food growing area. It's a bit wild right now, but I'd rather leave my gardens wild than manicured, because if they're wild, there's lots of places for the animals to live. So generally this is a bit of a wild space in here, but there's a huge amount of food in here. Like they've got broccoli, lettuces, and lots of Asian greens, celery. I've got raspberry patches in here. There's a lot of food in here. So it's again, it's seasonal, and I, when I get a chance, I get in and get the veggie garden sorted again. But I'm still more focused on animals than I am on growing my own food.
Yep.
Even though I grow a massive amount of food, the focus is still habitat.
Yeah.
This is one of the first ephemerals we put in. So this pond is what we call ephemeral or temporary pond. So it fills up and it holds water for days, weeks, or months, depending on the season. And it's a great frog breeder. So as soon as it's going to hold water for a period of time, this will be full of frog spawn. The biggest mistake people make is putting vertical ledges of plastic. And if it's a tree frog, no problem. It'll just get out. But if it's a ground dwelling frog, dead. It'll just drown. It'll drown straight away.
So what's the importance of having essentially the plant life you've got around there as well? Is that erosion protection?
No, it's purely for the animals to live in.
Yeah, okay.
Again, I mean, these have an edible berry. This is Dinella.
Yeah.
This is a type of native grass.
Yeah.
It has a purple berry, which I can eat, but also the birds love. Yeah. So again, it's also a hiding place for little frogs, little sedge frogs. So again, I use this grass a lot around ground covers like that as well.
Yes.
Even these, this is called a frog's mouth. This plant here, it has a little yellow flower, but it's a reed plant, so it'll grow in the water, and then I get lots of little frogs living in that as well. So again, I heavily vegetate my ponds. They're always heavily vegetated. So this is only a year old, so you're seeing this very, very new. This was only dug about a year ago.
Okay.
So I can show you some other ones that dug a little bit longer.
Something that's a bit more
but
established.
This is one year on from that. This was just grass and weeds here, so this has changed quite significantly. About a year and a half ago, the entire area here was fenced with metal, and that whole area was a chicken run, fenced. And I pulled all that out, and since that's happened, the animals have something shifted with them too, because they're on another level now. They're comfortable where they have not been as comfortable before that.
Well, you've created that forest like area for them, and that habitat. So
well, again, the kangaroos, they sleep here. They breed here.
Yeah.
They love. I can show you little pockets where they go and sleep at night.
Yeah.
And they live in little wilds areas as well. So. So basically that ephemeral pond that we just looked at flows down into this one, and this one takes a lot more rain to hold. But again, in a good rainy season, this will hold water too. I have had breeding in there, but it's much quicker because it doesn't hold water for as long. But then it flows back down this way into a pond that has water in it all the time now, and it's just an ephemeral. Same thing, it's just clay base, but it does dry out. It's nice to have permanent water, but it's really critical to have those ponds that dry out. Because in those ponds that dry out, we have, as I said, almost a third of the species of frog breed in those ponds that wouldn't breed in permanent water. So if we didn't have those temporary water supplies, I just wouldn't have those species of frogs breeding on the property. But also, the thing with the permanent water is there's a lot of predators in the water. In the temporary water, there's a lot less predators. There's no fish. There's less things like say, dragonfly larvae, because dragonflies need the water to breed in, but they eat tadpoles, and when they're a dragonfly in the water, they eat the tadpoles. So a lot of things in the water that can eat tadpoles. So it's really important to have those systems that have very little predators in them for a short period of time, and then they dry out again.
Having the ponds around the place, does that attract mosquitoes at all?
Yeah. But again, what happens generally, I get a bit of a rush after I put a pond in. I get it breeding in at once. And then within a really short period of time now, I get dragonflies come. And I watch the dragonflies. The female, she flies over the pond and she's looking to see if there's food in there or not yet. And I've watched her at times go, no. And then come back, a little bit later, and then she starts laying. So she's observing what's in the water. Is there enough food for her babies to eat other things? Otherwise, she won't lay in the water. So what I have is generally, if I have dragonfly larvae in the water, they'll eat mosquitoes.
Yes.
You can also put a pump or a waterfall or a fountain, and that'll make the water move, and that'll stop mosquitoes breeding too. But again, I need mosquitoes. I don't want too many, but I do need them in the system. They're actually critical. Same with termites. Termites are eaten by everything. So birds, frogs, lizards, you know, spiders, so many things eat termites. So again, termites are critical in the system as well. I don't want them to be eating my house, but I want them in the system because lots of animals. If I didn't have termites here, I wouldn't have echidnas walking through the property. If we have a huge rain event and it lasts for months, everyone's got mosquito problems.
Everyone's got that same issue.
And I had the same issue then. But generally, because again, once the mosquitoes become an adult, they fly off, they get caught by birds, by lizards, by frogs, by spiders. So that's another thing. I've got so many of those numbers up that the mosquitoes aren't really a problem for me anymore. Occasionally I'll see some in a bird bath and I'll tip it out and I'll fill it again. But generally not a big problem for me.
But still, it's another one of those things. That's why encouraging everything to come in and create your own ecosystem here.
If you go and put in 6 ponds tomorrow and you've got nothing, you'll have a mosquito problem straight away. Unless they're all flowing with water and you've got fountains. But I've got 74 ponds and I've got one fountain, one waterfall in one of them. So again, I can't afford to put pumps in all of them. But then it's not critical.
It's not necessary.
There's no pumps in nature. You know, it's naturally, water's just flowing naturally. So, but if you head this way, this heads down to another pond that we just did. Again, this whole area was a chicken run about a year ago. So you can't really see, but there's a lot of small fruit trees that have gone in. So this area alone has got about 50 fruit trees that went in just here.
Yeah, wow. So what sort of fruit trees did you put in?
Black sapote, red chartreuse mulberry. We've got acerola cherry, feijoas, avocados, custard apple, lots of figs. I'm really into figs. So brown Turkish figs or black Genoa figs. More mulberries. We've got a finger lime. Again, I just try and grow as many things as I can that I like to eat regularly, on a regular basis. So here,
it's funny, the sapotes. I'd heard of sapotes, but I just saw one for the first time a couple of weeks ago.
Have you tasted it yet?
Well, no, it was still green.
Mate, they taste like chocolate pudding.
Yeah, I have heard. So I want to try it.
Oh, they're amazing, mate.
But we were trying to figure out what on earth it was, and then I saw it at someone else's house. Oh, what's that tree? The black sapote.
Well,
there's different ones. There's different varieties.
Well, there's white sapote, mama sapote, and black sapote. There's another one too, but they're the two main ones, the black and the white. We've got both here, but I don't like the taste of the white, so I don't eat them. But the blacks haven't even fruited for me yet. So, but the blacks are great. You know, the blacks are really tasty. So this pond here, again, this was all cut about a year ago. So that first ephemeral pond we looked at and the second one, they both flow into this point and come to this pond now. Now this pond never dries out now. It's always got a bit of water or it's completely full. So this is a great little pond. We had some logs left over, so we put this bridge in as well. But again, rocks, logs, mulch and plants, absolutely critical in the system. And again, look, people can probably see from the video, there's a few weeds around. Like this weed, a lot of people don't like this weed. It's called agerantum or blue top, but it brings in massive amount of butterflies. So I've got so many butterflies in the garden just because I've got this weed occasionally on the property. I don't want to have lots of it, but I do like it being in the system. Weeds bring in a lot of insects as well. Really critical to have some weeds in the system.
There's absolutely a reason they exist.
Absolutely. Well, they protect the earth. You know, when you clear the land, weeds come in first. They're like skin. They protect the earth, but they've also got critical minerals that they deposit into the soil as well. So weeds are also edible. You know? But when I go to the weediest, wildest patches of the garden, that's where all the animals are. That's where the insects are, the spiders are. So if I didn't have those wild places, I wouldn't have those. I need those wild places for those insects to breed up, so they can move into the system and get eaten by everything else. That one's called Snowy. I call that one Snowy.
It's snowy.
Just got this little white streaks here.
Yeah.
Some of them have names. There's two there.
Walking with gentle intention.
We're going to head down to 6 Mile Creek now, which is about 50 to 100 metres away. I have 2 platypus that live there and have lived there ever since I've been here, male and female. They do breed there every year, but I'm yet to see babies. But we're going to head down there now and show you where they are.
Go and check it out. Awesome.
So we've just left the property. We're just moving into a conservation area. Further up here is the 40-acre conservation reserve. Yeah. So I'm on the edge of a corner of a conservation reserve, and that property over there, the back of that property there is Jampot Creek. So that's the creek that comes off a mountain running through that boundary, and this is 6 Mile Creek through this boundary. But that's much further down. Yeah. But yeah, that's the boundary. We're just coming into the property. Well, you can see what I've done is I stopped mowing all this area here. And what's happened is all these lamangers have established and all these trees have come back in. So unless I told you, you don't even notice you've crossed the boundary for this property to the bush. No. And that's why I love it. And all this was barbed wire, which I removed as soon as I could. Yeah. There's about a 300-metre boundary here. Yeah. All barbed wire's gone now. Yeah.
So that was to stop kangaroos getting caught up on it, animals getting caught up on it?
Yes. Because I've found lots of dead animals caught up in barbed wire before. Kookaburras, lots of bats get caught on barbed wire too.
Really?
Yeah, it's awful. They get their membrane caught in it and then they just die. They hang there for weeks. Yeah. They just dehydrate and die. Yeah. I've seen kookaburras dead, hanging by their wings, caught up in barbed wire. It's awful stuff.
That's horrible.
If we disturb them now, they won't come back, so we've got to be really quiet. Just come and sit down here. So this is where I sit normally, just here. Yeah. And the platypus are normally just there, within a metre or two from me. One thing I want to say is a lot of people go bushwalking, and when they go bushwalking, all the animals know that they're bushwalking. Like the birds know. The birds talk to each other and they tell each other. But it's not until you stop that they get used to you. So I can walk to you, I can hear all the birds alarming all the other birds, but I sit here for 20 minutes and everything's normal again. Again, I've become part of that system, part of that, I've just blended into nature again. So again, it's really critical that even if you go bushwalking and you see these beautiful animals, sit quietly. It's when you sit quietly you're going to see it a lot more, because all of a sudden the animals go, oh, he's okay, he's not going to hurt us, and they start becoming around you. Like I've had amazing experiences here with turtles, goannas, snakes, but my favourite thing here is the platypus. I come down here mostly to see the platypus. The thing that I want to share the most is, like, I bought this land. Like, it's 6.5 acres. I technically bought it. The government sold it to me. The bank sold it to me. But I'm never going to own this land. I'm a caretaker. I purely got this land so I could protect this land for my lifetime. As long as I'm alive, I know that this land will be protected. Once I'm gone, I can't stay. But I will never own this land. It owns me.